이제 곧 공동 인터뷰, 공동 기자회견을 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 우리 팀 바비를 한번 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. 세 분을 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up to the stage our Barbie team.
지금 마고로비가 모습을 보이고 있는데요. 네, 마고로비.
Please welcome up to the stage Margot Robbie. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Margot. Good to see you again. Hi, America. Hi, Greta. 네, 반갑습니다. 네, 자리에 앉아주시기 바랍니다. 안녕하세요. 자, 오늘 와주신 기자님들께 마고로비부터 인사 부탁드립니다.
Hello everyone, thank you. Hi.
안녕하세요. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hi, good morning. 안녕하세요. Thank you.
네, 2개국어를 섞어서 아침 인사와 또 인사를 해주셨어요. 자, 저희가 이제 공동 기자간담회를 통해서 우리 기자님들 아마 작품에 대해서 궁금한 점 많으실 거예요. 먼저 질문을 생각하시는 동안에 제가 간단하게 질문을 먼저 하나 드려보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 일단 어저께 세 분 모두 한국의 첫 방문이에요. 소감이 어떤지와 어제 또 핑크 카펫 굉장히 뜨거웠던 걸로 알고 있는데 어떠셨나요? 마고부터.
It was unbelievable. Yesterday, the event, the reception we got from the fans was unlike anything I've ever experienced before. It was such an explosion of joy and pink and fun. There were so many people. I truly just wasn't expecting it. It was unbelievable, and we are so grateful to be here in Korea, and everyone has been so lovely. Thank you for having us.
I think you say it was 대박, right? It was awesome. 대박. It was awesome. The fans have been incredibly warm, energetic. It's so exciting to get to share bits of the film with some of the fans yesterday, and it's just been a wonderful visit here, and it's a beautiful, beautiful city. Thank you.
How about Greta?
Yes, this is for me. It's just so exciting to be in Korea, in this city with this film. I love Korean cinema. I'm in awe of the artists of movies that come out of this country, and so for me, it's like it's the same as being in. Paris with loving the French New Wave films. It's just exciting as a cinephile, and the fans yesterday. It was just amazing. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was incredible, and I was just incredibly touched by how much they really cared about all of our individual projects and contributions, and really knew them. It was very moving.
어제 정말 우리 팬들이 예상 이상으로 너무나 뜨거운 반응이셨어서 세 분 모두 감동을 받은 것 같아요. 네, 자 그러면 이제 우리 기자님들의 질문을 받아보도록 하겠습니다. 질문 있으신 손을 들어주시면 저희 스태프께서 마이크를 전달하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 먼저 들어주신 안녕하세요.
저 그레타 거익 감독님과 마고로비 배우님에게 질문 드리겠는데, 이제 그레타 거익 감독님은 그 마고로비 배우의 의뢰를 받고 이제 바비 집필부터 연출까지 맡게 되신 걸로 아는데, 처음 제의를 받고 어떠셨는지 궁금하고요. 그리고 반대로 마고로비 배우님은 그레타 거익 감독님에게 왜 제안을 하셨는지 궁금하고, 그리고 아까 이제 내한 소감 이제 간단히 말씀해 주셨는데, 이제 한국에서 생일을 맞이하셨잖아요. 한국 팬들에게 이제 생일 축하를 받으신 소감도 조금 궁금합니다.
The first thing that I thought was that I was very excited to work with Margot, because I'd wanted to, as an actor, but also as a producer, the work that she's done and the projects that she's shepherded have been so amazing. So that was exciting to me. And then the other thing that went through my mind was just I'm terrified of this because it's Barbie. It's something that's known all over the world. So many people have opinions about her. I don't even know what the story of this is, and also just kind of to take on something that has been sometimes ahead of culture, sometimes behind culture. What are we going to even do with this? So it was a combination of excitement and terror, and then also a little part of me thought this could be really great.
그렇다면 마고에게는 왜 그레타 거익 감독님께 제안을 했는지 질문 드릴게요.
I've been watching Greta's work as an actor for so many years, and I can tell you now that I know her as a friend, she is as charming and charismatic and delightful and smart and kind as all the characters she plays have ever seemed to me on camera. And as a director, it doesn't take long speaking to her to see that she truly is an auteur, that she is a visionary director, that she is one of the greats of our generation. She has an incredible knowledge of film. She has an incredible amount of respect for the film and filmmakers and filmmaking techniques that have come in decades, before us. And I want to work with people like that because I love film and I love filmmakers and I love the films that have come before us. And you can feel that respect in the Barbie film. The film devices and the techniques that we've incorporated all under, Greta's guise is so unlike, it's kind of stuff you don't get to see in movies anymore. And the in-camera trickery is genius and creative and is ultimately giving you such a delightful experience when you watch it. So I knew that she was a director I was dying to work with. I knew she was a writer that I loved and respected. She's also a person I just love and respect as well. And when you make a movie, you spend years of your life. It's been a 5-year journey for me so far. You just want to do that with people that you love and respect. And I'm so grateful that I got to do that.
영화를 사랑하는 사람들끼리 얼마나 통하는지도 느껴지고 서로에 대한 존경심이 지금 느껴지고 있는데 우리 기자님께서 또 하나의 질문을 주셨죠. 한국에서 생일을 맞았어요. 그리고 어제 팬들의 생일 축하를 받았는데 소감이 어땠는지?
Honestly, I thought I was gonna cry.
네, 봤어요.
That was unbelievable. I've never had a birthday quite like that. I've definitely never had that many birthday wishes in one day either. It was unbelievable and a beautiful reminder of just how kind the people in Korea are and how excited everyone seems to be that we're bringing the Barbie movie here. So it was very meaningful, very moving and greatly appreciated.
네, 다시 한번 또 고마운 마음을 표현하셨고요. 또 질문 있으신 기자님, 네, 이번에 왼쪽.
저는 마고로비 배우한테 질문이 있는데요. 보통 이제 바비라고 하면은 특히 한국에서는 그런 완벽한 몸매, 그다음에 그런 외모를 가진 서양인 여자를 떠올리기 마련이거든요. 근데 이제 푸티지 상영회에서 봤을 때는 이런 바비로 사는 여자가 이제 비로소 자기 정체성을 찾아가는 그런 영화로 저는 느꼈는데, 그래서 좀 어려운 배역이 될 수도 있을 거라고 생각을 했어요. 그래서 이 배역을 봤는데 부담은 없었는지, 그리고 그럼에도 불구하고 이 역할을 이제 어떻게 연기해야 되겠다고 잘 결심한 게 있는지 이게 궁금합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 진짜 우리가 바비 하면은 완벽한 몸매 모습을 이제 연상하게 되는데 그 모습을 맡는 데 있어서 좀 어려움은 없었는지, 그리고 이 역할을 하기로 하면서 중점은 어떤 점에 줬는지 질문 드릴게요.
We lent into the idea that I'm playing stereotypical Barbie, who is the first Barbie that was invented in 1959, hence the blonde hair, hence the costume references to the original black and white swimsuit, and we kind of moved through the ages. I think it was important that Greta and Noah decided to call her stereotypical Barbie because the word infers that she's already putting herself in a box, that she's already kind of putting a ceiling on all the things that she could be, even in this made-up world, which ends up being a pretty important story point as she ventures into the real world and starts experiencing real life and humanity. She has this amazing connection with Gloria, the character that America plays, which is important. I mean, it's very fun and a lot of fun things happen in the movie, but it's also important to see that a real life woman and a made up imaginary representation of a woman are both connected in this impossible pursuit of being everything all at once, the way, women are sometimes expected to be a great mother and a great co-worker and a great sister and a great friend and a great person. And it's just, there's this incredible moment that you'll see in the movie where America's character Gloria just vocalizes how impossible and contradictory that is. And points out that at the same time, if that's expected of a doll, if that's expected of just someone imagining, pretending to be or representing to be a woman, then where does that leave us to go as a society? So there's a lot of moments like that that are incredibly profound and moving and thought-provoking. And of course, the genius of Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach allow for that in a script that is also tremendously fun and hilarious and silly and pokes fun at itself. But I do really love that those moments are in there and those important kind of messages are ingrained in the story as well.
자, 그렇다면 그레타 거이 감독님께도 좀 여쭤봐야 될 것 같아요. 이번에 마고로비가 어떤 바비를 표현해 주기를 직접 글을 쓰셨기 때문에 그리고 연출을 하셨기 때문에 그 점을 좀 여쭤볼게요.
Well, there were. I suppose one aspect of where Barbie is now as an idea, and where Mattel has gotten to, is that they have such an incredible diversity of kinds of Barbies now, and they do, when you look at them, they really say, you know, all of these women are Barbie, and Barbie is all of these women. So the selfhood of Barbie is contained in all of these different people, which is kind of fascinating on its own as an idea that selfhood is distributed. And I liked that, and that felt like an exciting place to start. And I think that for me, the thing about Margot's stereotypical Barbie, and she says in the movie, "I'm the Barbie you think of when somebody says, think of a Barbie, that's me." It felt like she was kind of the stand-in for the version of Barbie that people have all kinds of mixed feelings about, and that she is the stand-in for the Barbie that, you know, my mom when I was growing up didn't like Barbie, and she was the stand-in for those reasons, so that it was almost like a way to engage with the kind of, honestly, that stereotype of what she was, and then allowing her to kind of grow past that and find an inner life and nuance and complications. And it, you know, and then also in the Barbie world that there are just so many different women who are Barbie. Everything I say sounds just kind of bananas, but this is how Mattel has constructed the world.
이야기를 들으니까 빨리 영화를 보고 싶네요. 정말 다양한 바비들, 우리 모두가 바비이기 때문에 만나볼 수 있을 것 같아요. 또 질문 있으신 기자님, 네.
저는 세 분께 공통 질문이 하나가 있고 그 감독님께 있는데요. 세 분께는 이 영화에 나오는 바비, 지금 감독님 말씀해 주셨지만 또 켄까지 이 인형들에 얽힌 개인적인 추억이 있으신지 각자 여쭤보고 싶고요. 그레타 거윅 감독님은 예고편부터 그 바비의 까치발을 지상에 딛게 만든 게 굉장히 통쾌했는데 이번 작품뿐 아니라 작은 아씨들처럼 이렇게 기존의 문화 유산 속에 있는 여성상을 좀 재해석하는 그런 제안을 계속 받고 계신데 어떤 것을 할리우드가 본인에게 원하고 있는가, 기대하는가라고 느끼시는가와 그것에 대해서 좀 책임감을 느끼신다면 어떤 것인지 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
네, 일단 개인적인 추억에 대해서 먼저 여쭤봐야 되겠네요. 바비 인형과 함께한 추억. 세 분 모두께 여쭐게요. 우리 아메리카부터 말씀드릴까요?
Yeah, I didn't really play with Barbie dolls growing up. Not necessarily a world that I felt seen in and represented by. So I never imagined that I would be a part of telling the Barbie story. But I imagine that had I been a little girl today, where there was so many more representations of what it means to be a Barbie, what it means to be a celebrated, powerful, self-actualized woman, I would have been very, very excited to be a part of the Barbie world and to see myself represented in this film.
How about
Oh, yeah, I love dolls. I was a big, not just, I mean, I liked Barbie a lot, but and I got a lot of hand-me-down Barbies from girls on the street. Girls on the street, I mean on my street, where I grew up. But I played with dolls until I was older than most girls play with dolls. And I think now when I look back on it, it really was an entry into storytelling and really directing, even though I wouldn't have described it that way. And I think it was the first place I was kind of developing dramas and acting things out with my dolls. So it's pretty surreal to be an adult doing it and my doll is right there. She's Margot Robbie. It's sort of extraordinary.
네, 자 그렇다면 my doll,
And
my Barbie.
despite how I look right now, I actually wasn't much of a Barbie girl when I was little. Don't let the outfit fool you. I was more of a roll around in the mud kind of kid, like putting lizards in my pockets and things like that. But Barbie was omnipresent growing up. She was at almost every household I remember visiting and was definitely a device in this world of imagination and play. I think that's always been the purpose of toys, and in particular dolls, is an opportunity for kids to project themselves or play out scenarios or try and make sense of the world or try and make sense of adults, to be honest. I think it's the adults who have always felt conflicted about what representations might be seeping in subconsciously for their children. But as a kid, I don't remember thinking any of that. I just remember playing and loved playing.
자, 지금 각자 바비와 있었던 추억도 얘기해 주시고 또 본인은 어렸을 때 어떤 성향의 아이였는지도 얘기를 해 주셨어요. 자, 그레타 거익 감독님께 또 기자님께서 질문을 해 주셨는데 이번 바비도 그렇고 또 작은 아씨들도 그렇고 그 여성상을 재해석한 작품들을 계속해서 이제 연출해 오고 계시는데 할리우드가 본인에게 어떤 거를 원한다고 생각하시는지.
Oh, what is Hollywood's calling for me? I've been just incredibly lucky in what I've been able to do as a writer and director, and really just been able to continue to make things that are interesting to me. And whether there's tiny films or big films like this one, they all feel very personal to me, and they feel very attuned to things I'm interested in. And I am just interested in women. I like them. I enjoy being around them. I want to know what they think and feel. And I am very interested in giving them movies to explain all of that to me and to everyone else. So I think it's really just being able to follow that curiosity, which has been so amazing to me and great going forward in my career. But it's more. It all feels really extraordinary, and I feel very blessed that this has been the case. But in terms of, I have the sort of fantasy baseball group of films in my head that I'd like to be able to make, and each movie I make, if I write them, it takes about 3 to 4 years, soup to nuts, and so I'm not going to make endless numbers of movies, I'm sorry to say, and so I just want to keep making them at a pretty good clip and keep going towards what my interests are, and hopefully I have a body of really interesting work at the end.
네. 배우로서도 그렇지만 감독으로서 정말 전 세계가 주목하고 있는 그레타 거익 감독님의 앞으로가 더욱 기대되는 바입니다. 자, 또 질문 있으신 기자님. 네.
아메리카 페레라 배우님께 먼저 질문드리고 싶은데요. 어글리 베티가 한국에서도 어린 시절에 방영이 됐었기 때문에 한국 소녀들에게도 굉장히 기감이 됐던 작품인데요. 이번에 그레타 거익 감독이 만든 바비와 조금 결을 같이 하는 작품인 것 같아요. 아무래도 패션 업계라는 외모가 중요한 세상에서 외모와 상관없이 성공하는 소녀의 이야기를 다뤘고, 또 이번에도 바비에서도 외모와 상관없이 자기 자신을 사랑하는 이야기가 담겨 있을 것 같아서, 그래서 한국의 소녀들에게도 이 작품이 어떤 메시지가 됐으면 좋겠는지 어글리 베티의 주인공이셨던 아메리카 페레라 배우님께 질문드립니다.
네, 기자님 고맙습니다. 네, 정말 그 어글리베티가 많은 사랑을 받았고 한국에서도 이제 반영이 됐었는데 이번에 바비도 약간 같은 아직 영화를 못 보셨지만 그쵸? 같은 결일 것 같다라고 말씀해 주셨어요. 어떤 메시지를 전해줄 수 있을지.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, the fact that a number of my projects in my career have focused on, at least on the surface level, on what I look like, I think says more about the industry and where we are as a culture than it does about me and what I'm interested in as an artist. But I've been so lucky to have those doors open and have an opportunity to dive deeper into the more interesting conversations that live underneath, you know, what we're conscious of. We all know Barbie is fun and exciting and bright and beautiful and aspirational, and we love all of those things. And at the same time, Barbie doesn't exist without human women. A woman created her. Girls play with her, and then those girls become women. And so the fact that I'm so grateful, just as a woman in the world, that Greta chose to tell this story through the eyes of grown human women. Because there are so many versions of this movie that could have been made, and it's why I wanted to be a part of this movie, because I knew that with Greta writing and directing and Margot starring as Barbie and producing this, it wasn't going to just be the fun, bright, entertaining film, which it is, all of those things. It's also going to be something that leaves you thinking and feeling and questioning, you know, your feelings and your own projections onto Barbie and what she means. And I think that that's really all we can do as storytellers. It's tell stories that make us think. We can't really provide answers and definites of what's right and what's wrong and what's the last word on whether Barbie is good for us or not good for us. All we can do is explore what she says about us. And when I walk away from the movie, my biggest takeaway is a feeling of self-actualization, self-celebration, and that every single one of us deserves to feel like the best version of ourselves and to feel like that is enough. That being fully who we are is enough as a person in this world.
그야말로 Love Myself가 떠오르면서 우리의 뷰티풀 베티, 이 아메리카 페레라가 이야기를 해주셨어요. 자, 그러면 다음 질문을 한번. 네.
바비는 시그니처 컬러가 핑크잖아요. 근데 세 분은 자신을 대표하는 컬러는 뭐가 있다고 뭐라고 생각하는지랑 마고로비 분은 초기 바비를 연기하기 위해서 좀 제스처나 걸음걸이가 굉장히 독특했는데 따로 준비한 게 있으신지 두 가지 질문 드려보겠습니다.
네, 일단 세 분 모두에게 본인을 대표하는 컬러. 자, 바비는 핑크인데 나는 무슨 컬러다? How about Margot?
Yellow.
Yellow. I think you're pink.
I know. Well, this summer it's all pink, but yellow is my favorite color actually.
옐로랍니다. 자, 그렇다면 아메리카?
My color is red.
Red.
I've always loved red, and I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign, so it all works. I'm a red.
Greta?
Purple.
Purple. Are you army?
Why is it purple? I think there's like a few reasons. No, I mean, I've always loved purple. I've always been very interested in the color of indigo, which is the blue that's, you know, you get, this is sort of indescribable perfect blue that nobody's seen. And I always feel like purple is it feels like it's maybe the closest to indigo. And I don't know, I've always thought it was kind of a magical color. I think of purple robes on kings.
정말 매력적인 컬러죠. 마고에게 또 하나의 질문을 해주셨습니다. 이번에 보면 뭐 걸음걸이라든지 제스처가 굉장히 독특한 그 연기를 해주셨는데 이번에 바비를 위해서 어떤 점 준비를 하셨는지?
It wasn't too difficult. It was just a matter of having those conversations and making the decisions on how much we wanted to lean into the doll-like qualities for the sake of comedy or audience satisfaction. And there are moments where we lean in and use it to comedic effect. And so far, every time we've screened it for an audience, people laugh at that kind of stuff. But I think if we did too much of it throughout the movie, it would just end up being a bit distracting. So we want audiences to really go on this ride with Barbie, with the Barbie I play, and she does go on a journey. I don't want to give anything away because there's so much in the movie that is still kind of secret, but there is an evolution, and the physicality played into that, yes, which was a really fun acting exercise for me.
그리고 그 보면 영화에서 예고편에도 나오는데 여러 바비들과 춤을 맞춰서 추시는데 그것도 굉장히 오랜 시간 연습을 하셨어야 됐을 것 같아요.
That was the funnest part. We loved dance practice. Was where all the Barbies and Kens bonded.
And humans.
And humans.
America came.
Because America would come, and actually Greta would come to the dance rehearsals too. Everyone was finding excuses to come be at the dance rehearsals because they were so fun. We did it for a couple of weeks. And I never wanted it to end. I loved it.
자, 영화를 통해서 직접 확인해 보도록 하겠습니다. 또 질문 있으신 기자님? 네.
And my questions are for Ms. Robbie and Ms. Gerwig. First for Ms. Robbie, what was most challenging about playing such a beloved character as Barbie, and are you satisfied with the results? And for Ms. Gerwig, what was the initial inspiration other than Ms. Robbie for the film, and what is the message, if there be, of the film?
마고 먼저.
Sure. I loved playing this character. There is, yes, I definitely felt a big sense of responsibility to not just for my character, but do the Barbie movie justice, knowing that there are so many Barbie fans out there and so many people that Barbie means so much to and have meant so much to over the world. But at the same time, I really wanted to make sure that we were having a conversation throughout the movie with the people who don't agree with Barbie, people like Greta's mom who have had a problem with Barbie over the year and for good reason. So it was really important that everyone felt like this movie was for them and was speaking to them. But the comfort for me was that I was doing everything under the direction of Greta Gerwig, who is, as you've heard me say, someone I love and adore and admire, and she's so smart. I always felt safe. Any concerns or questions I had, I would just talk it through with Greta and know my way forward. And I can't wait for Greta to talk about some of her references, because her references for this film are incredible and wide-reaching.
자, 그렇다면 감독님. 네.
Yeah, well, when actually that question was asked, we share brains still slightly, Margot and I, so you led in exactly for what I was thinking, which is that I think the opportunity to make a movie about Barbie and a movie about dolls was something for me that as a filmmaker, I got very excited about constructing this world and making something that was almost took place in a movie world, like that everything was contained in the box of a movie studio, and that there were, my sort of favorite image of it was this idea of a painted sky, that it was an illusion, but that it was really there, that it was fake, but at the same time it really existed as paint on canvas, and I wanted to do that everywhere, and I kept looking. Again, I guess, it was just led right into this, but the soundstage musicals of the 50s were a huge part of that idea for me. The movies of, like American in Paris and Singing in the Rain and Oklahoma, and these sort of beautifully surreal movies, Brigadoon, these things that take place just within four walls, but are somehow expansive within that, and their sort of artificiality is part of what gives them their emotion, and that's what we were looking towards as we started to make these movies, make this movie and look at these other references. And I think for me, it's just something where, in a sort of self-indulgent way, it's something I've always wanted to do, but nobody ever says like, gee, I'd like to see your 1950s soundstage musical. But if you tie it to something like Barbie, you get the opportunity to let your imagination run wild, and it all felt like it went together to me, because it was also the stuff I loved as a kid, and the worlds I wanted to step into, and that's also what went into we have our Barbies and our Kens and our humans, but we have a bunch of Barbies and Kens who are dancers, and we cast almost like a core group of like a dance core that would be there the whole movie, and they wouldn't just be dancing, they would also just be everywhere, they would populate the world, and that felt connected to those movies to me as well, and that opportunity was just delicious.
왠지 촬영하시면서 그레타 거익 감독님도 함께 들어가서 나도 함께 춤을 추고 싶다 이런 생각했을 것 같아요. 네.
I did. I would dive into the dance as well. We would, as a crew and a cast, we'd all do on the day that we shot big dance scenes. We'd all do warm-ups together, and everyone would do the warm-up, including me, including the grips, including our genius cinematographer Rodrigo Prieto. Like we were all doing these dance warm-ups, and it was so bonding and sweet and fun, and you'd look across the room and it would be just the sound mixer also doing it, and you'd be like, this is very special. This is but Barbie's already working some kind of magic here.
아쉽지만 다음 작품에서 우리 감독님 기대를 해보면서 시간 관계상 죄송합니다. 마지막 질문을 우리 기자님들께 받아보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 질문.
네, 그레타 거익 감독님께는 그 핑크 페인트가 모자랄 정도로 그 어마어마한 세트장을 지으셨는데, 그 세트장 지으시면서 가장 신경 쓰신 부분이랑 좀 만들면서 어려웠던 점 여쭤보고 싶고요. 그 배우님들께는 이제 사람이 아닌 인형 연기를 한 거잖아요. 그 다른 작품과 좀 다른 점이 있었을 것 같은데, 좀 수백 명의 배우들이 인형 연기를 하면서 좀 재밌었던 에피소드나 특별했던 점이 있었으면 말씀해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
네, 자 먼저 핑크 세트에 대해서 우리 그레타 거익 감독님 가장 신경 쓴 부분, 어려웠던 부분.
The set was actually breathtaking in a literal sense. I think it actually took people's breath away when they came on set. They thought, like it gives you sort of visceral delight. The set was something we started working on. Sarah Greenwood and I, who's the production designer, we started talking about it about over a year before we started shooting the movie, and it was something where everything had to be figured out. It wasn't obvious what the constraints of everything was. So everything had to be figured out in a way of like, how are we doing? What are we doing? What are we saying the constraints of the world are? And I mean, with the house in particular, I mean, they've been making dream houses for many years, so we had a lot of different versions to play with, and I remember being in the production design office and looking at all the different iterations of what the dream house has been. I mean, the one thing that always seemed to be the truth is the proportions of the dream houses are always such that Barbie's head isn't that far away from the ceiling. It's actually pretty, it has this quality of, it's similar to the car, that the car is quite small, so she's larger than the car, which has the strange effect of then making her look small. So it's sort of this playing with scale all the time was part of it, and then taking these elements that we liked from all the different Dreamhouse moments and trying to kind of create a best of hits, like that you are united in essentially the 1959 aesthetic. But I think it was also about, for me, it was always about finding something that was off, that made it feel like a toy world. Like all these houses are so beautifully made and they all go together, but then there's something about having Skipper's, it's actually Chelsea's treehouse, but Skipper's in it. The purple treehouse, it just is off center. Like it doesn't quite actually match with anything around it, which is part of what makes it delightful and feel like toy. And we found those moments everywhere. Like there's a couple, I mean, this is just really, if you want to go deep into the nerdiness of what the movie is, but we built everything in miniature so we could film that as well and use it to composite images, so that we have things that are built human scale. We have the miniatures that we photograph, and then we can combine these together so there's some play of scale. But we were finding also that sort of one thing being off is introducing some of the A-frame houses that are different than the other kinds of 1950s houses, which breaks up everything, so there's not a sense of monotony, there's something fanciful and unexpected and kind of off-centered about it. I felt that way about a lot of the vehicles too, like the hot dog truck that's just driving around, or there are just certain vehicles that are like, oh, that's just so specific. There's this that kind of thing, and I think that's kind of the delight of having a 64-year history, that you can draw on these different elements that are so specific and strange.
그러니까 비율과 1950년대 그 미학적인 부분을 그대로 보여주기 위해서 굉장히 노력을 하신 것 같아요. 자, 그렇다면 우리 바비 역을 맡은 마고로비께 먼저 여쭐게요. 모두가 다 인형 연기를 했기 때문에 어땠는지, 그리고 재밌었던 에피소드 좀 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
There were many. Every day on this set was hilarious. Actually, I remember one day I redecorate. All our crew members have trucks for their equipment, and I went into the grip truck because they're generally, if I'm gonna generalize, they're usually like the manliest men on set, and they weren't really embracing on Wednesdays. I made a rule on Wednesdays we wear pink because it's a line in the film Mean Girls, and they weren't really embracing pink just yet early on in the production. And so I went into their truck in lunch break and I redecorated it and put pink streamers everywhere and pink glittery things, and they found that very funny when they came back. And after that, they started wearing a lot more pink. So just, I guess a word for all the guys out there that might be watching. You might not think the Barbie movie is for you, but if you let yourself embrace it, you're going to have an amazing time. So
or Margot Robbie will show up at your house and decorate it with pink, I think is the message.
And aside from that, we also had a Barbie sleepover that Greta hosted at the beginning of the shoot, and that was very, very fun and hilarious. And then beyond that, just every lunch break, this wasn't the kind of movie where everyone went back to their trailers or didn't want to hang out. Like, we would hang out and find reasons to find each other and be like, what are you doing? And it was just such a lovely vibe. It was an amazing, everyone really bonded on this set.
그야말로 바비랜드네요. 예, 핑크 웬즈데이, 핑크 하우스. 예. 자, 우리 아메리카 페레라 같은 경우는 인간 역할을 맡았어요. 인간 역할을 봤을 때 이 바비 그 연기를 하시는 분들 함께 했는데 어떠셨는지?
It was a little difficult to stay a human. I mean, the pull to meet the energy of the sets, the energy of everyone else playing a doll. It was kind of like resisting a magnetic force and having to constantly ground and remind myself that I'm literally here to be a human, not to be a doll, as fun as that seems. And I think probably the hardest part was trying to understand, for me, the tone of who I was meant to be in the Barbie land. And I could give over to it because I knew that even if I didn't fully understand it, Greta did. It's an incredible gift as an actor to work with a director who has such a strong vision, who I knew that every single thing was so thought out, from what the background dancers were supposed to move like, to why these pinks and not those pinks, and why the Barbie's hairbrush is this size and not that size, and why our logo isn't the original logo, it's something updated. Just every level of detail was so clear, and there were moments that I wasn't exactly sure what Gloria's tone was meant to be in the world, but I just fully trusted that Greta did. And it gave me the freedom to just play and explore. And particularly one very pivotal scene for my character that is a very real scene. And I remember having conversations about, is this supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be fanciful? Am I supposed to play to the dolls? And Greta was like, just be real. And it was hard. It's hard to be real in a world that is so pink and so heightened and so elevated. And so I think that was the hardest part, was trying to remain a human in a world that was so heightened.
네, 마지막 질문에 대한 대답을 아주 정성껏 세 분 다 해주셨는데요. 얼마나 세 분이 이걸 진짜처럼 보이기 위해서 노력을 하셨는지가 느껴지는 부분입니다. 자, 질문해주신 기자님들 진심으로 감사의 말씀 드리면서요. 자, 기자간담회를 끝내기 전에 우리 감독님과 배우분들을 위해서 특별한 선물이 마련되어 있습니다. 바로 한국의 아름다움과 개성이 고스란히 담긴 떡 케이크를 준비했습니다. 자, 우리 정말 떡 케이크는 한국인이 워낙 또 떡을 좋아하고 이게 트래디셔널 라이스 케이크이기 때문에 우리가 생일 파티 할 때나 잔치할 때 꼭 먹고 그리고 축하하죠. 예. 자, 일어나서 이거 한번 앞쪽으로 보여주시겠어요?
Maybe if you could hold it up while standing for the press.
자, 한번 앞쪽으로. Show us.
One step forward, please.
와우. 떡 케이크를 선물을 했습니다. 또 어저께 우리 마고로비가 생일이었는데 또 특별한 케이크 되지 않을까 싶고요. 마침 우리 그레타 거익 감독님의 퍼플 케이크네요.
Purple, it's your color, right? It's purple, yeah.
자, 그러면 일어서셨으니까 선체로 우리 마고로비 어제 이제 생일이었는데 오늘 떡 케이크를 받으니까 기분이 어떠신지?
This is the icing on the cake today. I have never, like I said, I've never had a birthday like this. To be in Korea for the very first time on my birthday is such a treat, and everyone has made me feel so special. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 자, 아쉽지만 이제 끝인사를 드려야 될 것 같습니다. 그레타 거익 감독님부터 짧게 끝인사 부탁드릴게요.
This has been such a dream to be here and to share the movie with everyone. And I just honestly, I can't wait to come back. I want to spend longer here. And yes, so this is basically, I'm just saying, this really has only made me more excited to return.
자, 이번에는 아메리카 페레라.
Thank you so much for the energy and the warm welcome. It's been incredible to come in and experience the kindness and the generosity of everybody here in Seoul. And I'm just so excited for you all to get to see the movie, which is truly a global and universal experience and event. And it's so fun to get to be a part of a film that the whole world is experiencing at the same time.
네. 마고로비.
I know we've spoken a lot about the movie, but there is still so much to discover in this film. There are so many things. We definitely haven't given it all away in the trailers or in these conversations, so I can't wait for you all to experience the film. It's so much fun. It's so clever. It's from the genius brain of Greta Gerwig, and it is filled with the most incredible talent like America and Ryan Gosling and all of our cast. And I just cannot wait for you to see it. It's so good. We're so proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait. 예. 자, 함께 해주신 세 분 감사의 말씀드리고요. 아쉽지만 이제 인사를 드리겠습니다. Thank you. 팀 바비였습니다.
감사합니다.
감사합니다. 네, 감사합니다. Bye. Bye, 마고. Bye, 아메리카. Bye, 그레타. 예.